Story 6. An excerpt from the Bestiary of Belgamon the Quaint. The problem with Grorks. Grorks, or as they are sometimes called, swamp goblins, are a species of diminutive, green-skinned humanoids that reside in swampy and forested areas throughout Earia. They resemble the common goblin in appearance, with large bulbous noses, long pointy ears, and a mouth full of tiny but wickedly sharp teeth. They differ from their larger cousins in several important ways. However, Grorks are much less territorial than goblins, allowing any peaceful creature, no matter their origin, to live among them. They do not eat meat. Instead, they use their sharp fangs to bite into roots, sucking moisture and nutrition from the trees that populate their forested or swampy homes. Grorks are also very short, never exceeding a height of 10 inches. Grorks, while also very much infatuated with shiny objects, will not stoop to steal them from unwary passerby, unlike goblins. Instead, opting to bargain or trade for the item in question. Despite their grotesque appearance, Grorks are kind and generous creatures. Lost travelers praise their luck in stumbling upon one of their ramshackle encampments, as Grorks are always happy to feed any hungry strangers, as well as to gift them any items or equipment the traveler may need. Grorks are rarely ever aggressive or territorial. Generally, they will not resort to violence unless it is to protect themselves or their young. Many an aggressor has regretted their actions, as Grorks will latch on to the legs of the attacker with their needle-like teeth. Once their jaw has locked into place, they are virtually impossible to pry open. For the most part, Grorks are kind, happy creatures. The only problem with Grorks lies with the small percentage of their population that are afflicted with a most dreadful curse. Certain young Grorklings, upon almost reaching adulthood, will suddenly experience a drastic change in attitude and morals. Where they were once friendly and giving, they become abrasive and stingy, choosing to be alone more often than not. These affected younglings also begin to adopt some of the more negative traits of their goblin cousins, stealing from both their kind and outsiders, leading travelers astray, and even occasionally harming others for no reason other than they felt like doing so. Once it becomes clear that the behavior of the Grorkling will not improve, the rest of its tribe will banish them from their home, forcing them to eke out a lonely existence far away from their peers. The now lone Grork will soon lose its taste for tree roots. Instead, it will hunt and eat any living thing smaller than itself. They consume birds, rodents, bugs, and even occasionally, other Grorks. Where once they only had to feed on trees once or twice a week, now they eat constantly, only stopping to sleep, steal, or fight. One such Grork can devastate the local small wildlife population of a 20-mile region in less than a year. It is certainly an act of grace that these aberrations are only born once in every 10 generations. While it is true that these Groksha, as they are called by their kind, are few and far between, they are still a large threat to the well-being of Earia. As a result, hunters are paid handsomely for their eradication. It is very dangerous work, however. The Groksha retains all of its previous intelligence, as well as the destructive force of their new, feral nature. Many hunters leave their quarry's domain, bloodied and disheartened, as Groksha are quite elusive, slipping among the shifting shadows and greenery to deliver vicious hit-and-run attacks. After a day or two of such hardship, even the most hardy and courageous of hunters will often find their spirits broken. Groups generally fare just as poorly as individuals in such hunts. The Grorks will sneakily sabotage equipment, steal personal items from one person and plant them on another, and will spook the horses and pack mules of the group during the night. These small acts of mischief are enough to rob the would-be Grorks hunters of any meaningful rest. After a couple of days, tempers begin to run high and morale low, leading to infighting among the traveling companions. Thomas of Albion is one of the select few who have been capable of successfully capturing Grorks on multiple occasions. This section, taken directly from his personal journals, outlines the necessary steps. Grorks are without a doubt some of the most wily, evil-tempered critters I have ever had the displeasure of hunting. Due to their size and cunning, they cannot be tracked and captured by normal means. Successfully catching a Grorks requires a very cautious and lengthy approach. A successful Grorks hunt can take up to a week to accomplish, so you must be sure to bring the proper supplies. Non-perishable food, clean drinking water, metal chains, and an enormous amount of bandages and disinfectant will be absolutely necessary. Step 1. Enter the area where the Grorks has been spotted and proceed to track it like you would any other quarry. But keep in mind, the Grorks will likely spot you long before you see it. Step 2. The Grorks will harass you relentlessly during your time in its domain. This is where the bandages and disinfectant will come into play, as the vicious little creatures will nip at your ankles and legs whenever you are too distracted or asleep, darting back into the shadows and shrubbery before you can grab a hold of it. Put up with the pain and lack of rest for as long as you can. The Grorks will be focusing all of its attention on you during this time and will not hunt for food until it believes that you are gone. Step 3. Allow the Grorks to believe that it has won. Stage a loud, very visible tantrum and then leave the area. Hike out of sight of the tree line, hide, and then wait. The Grorks will eventually come to the edge of its home, looking to make sure that you are gone and that no other hunters are waiting around to try and catch it unawares. Once it has confirmed that all is clear, the creature will then proceed to hunt and eat until it falls into a state of unconsciousness. As it may have been several days since its last meal, this feeding frenzy can last up to 2 full days. Step 4. Once the sounds of frantic prey have quieted, it is now time to re-enter the forest or swamp where the Grorks resides. After filling their belly, a Grorks will sleep soundly for many hours, making this the best time to capture them. Although tiny in size, these creatures snore louder than almost any other in Earia. It should be no problem tracking the sound to its lair. Make sure to bind the Grorks securely with chains, as rope is almost always ineffective at holding a Grorks for long. Keep in mind, even though it is now captured and bound, the Grorks will continuously try to find a way to escape. You must never leave it unattended for long. The end.